Hey guys, Dawn here today. We're going to talk about single node Openshift. What is single node Openshift? Well, just as the name implies, it's Openshift running on a single node. And this is a great thing to do if you want to just run some Openshift at home and high availability is not important to you. Live migration of virtual machines is not important to you. Let's say you just want to play with OpenShift virtualization. Well, there's a few different ways to do this, but one of the coolest ways to do this, in my opinion, is to get a little mini PC and play with it. So there's a few different ways that you could do this, but if you're interested in virtualization, and I assume you are because otherwise why would you be here, you're going to want to run OpenShift even as a single node on a bare metal machine. Which you can do at home, again, like on a mini PC, or you could do it on a server, if you have a server kicking around. Some people do, I don't know. Or actually in the cloud, and that's something I'm going to go over in a different video, how to deploy OpenShift virtualization on a single node in AWS. But today we're going to do a single node at home with the assisted installer, because I think it's one of the easiest ways to deploy OpenShift, get started, and have complete control over what you're doing. So there are some minimum requirements that we do need to talk about installing single node OpenShift on bare metal. You're going to need at least CPU cores, but I would recommend more. 16 gigs of RAM, again, I would recommend more, and 120 gigs of storage. An additional requirement will be to have an additional empty disk in your physical infrastructure, as you're going to need it to install the logical volume manager storage, which is something that we are also going to cover in a later video. You could also just partition your disks. If you have a single disk, you can always partition it into two partitions and then use one for the logical volume manager storage. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the future. You're also going to need a handful of DNS entries. There's different ways to do this, but today I'm going to cover the assisted installer method because it's actually one of the easiest ways to get started. You're going to go to console.redhat.com, and then you're going to look for OpenShift and follow that. Then you're going to go to cluster list over on the left, and then click the big blue create cluster button right there in the center. To do assisted installer, we're going to go to data center in the center option, and you can take a look at all of these other options as well, and then hit the create cluster button for assisted installer. Then this is going to walk you through the process, and it's going to make it really pretty simple for you. You're going to put in your cluster name. You're going to put in your base domain, and don't look that up because there's nothing on it, but that's mine. Your OpenShift version, I'm just going to take the latest. You change your CPU architecture here if you need to. I'm not going to edit my pull secret. I'm just going to use mine that's associated with my Red Hat account. No platform integration. If I was going to, you could see here, but for this, I'm not going to. And then control plane nodes, single node OpenShift. Then it's going to pop up and tell you, or not pop up, but it's going to show you a little blue box that says, hey, this is going to result in an OpenShift deployment that's not highly available. Here you can include custom manifests if there was anything that you wanted to do additionally to configure your cluster, but we're going for the easy button today. So we're just going to skip that. I have already set up DHCP reservations for my node. So that's all set. You can also use static IP bridges and bonds. We're not doing that because, again, easy button. Skipping encryption, hitting next. And then next, it's going to ask if there's any operators I want to install right along with this. There's a virtualization bundle, but the bundle is not available for single node. The bundle is not available for single node. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on single operators and scroll down to logical volume storage manager. Logical volume manager storage. Logical volume manager storage. You can see why we have so many acronyms. We're going to select that. And then you can scroll down if you want to, just to kind of take a look at what else is available. We're just going to hit next. And then we're going to add our hosts. It's going to give you some options in a pop-up. And basically, you're going to generate a discovery ISO to make this, again, as simple as possible. We're going to do the provisioning type of a minimal image file. This downloads the remainder of the content that we're going to need for boot. I'm going to upload my public key so that I can log into that machine after the fact. And then again, there's some other options for proxy settings and cluster-fried certificates. I'm skipping all of that because I want to go easy. Then I'm going to generate that discovery ISO. Then there's some information here about what to do with that discovery ISO, and there's a couple different ways that you can do this. In this case, again, I'm running on a little machine, which is right there. So I'm just going to download that discovery ISO, and then I'm going to burn it to a USB. After I burn that to that USB, then it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to plug it in, and then I'm going to reboot that machine, and I'm going to get into the BIOS, and I'm going to do a boot override to skip and boot off of that burned USB. Then quickly, rather quickly, it should show up in our host inventory. When your host inventory comes up, you're going to get more information about that host. And then you should be able to click next. Then it's going to ask you about storage. Just want to make sure here that it's going to be installing in the right place. So in this case, I'm going to install in the NVMe drive because it's faster. And then I'm going to use the remainder of that storage for my virtual machines. Networking, I'm just going to leave as is, and then review and create. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on a meeting. I'm going to go get a coffee, and then I will be back. Then hopefully my cluster will be installed. And sure enough, my cluster is up and running. You can see here that there's a link to download the cube config. You want to download that and put it in a safe location. That cube config, that's your like Uber user who can do anything on that cluster. And ideally, you don't want to keep that around forever. You want to create some users, or you want to set up authentication. You want to set up an auth provider. But here, we're just going to log in with the cube config. So we want to just get started and take a look. So I'm logging in, and boom, here's my cluster. It looks great. It's pretty. All the things are good. Everything's put in place. The next thing we need to do before we do anything else is we need to configure our storage. And that's going to be for a follow-up video. We're going to configure our logical volume manager storage. And then we will enable our image registry. And then we will install our virtualization operator. And before you know it, we will be running virtual machines on this tiny little machine right here in my basement. And you can too. So if you tried it, I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment, let me know. Let me know what else you're interested in seeing in a video format and whatever. Follow me for more OpenShift tips, tricks, how-to videos, demos, and I don't know, I had something funny for there and I don't remember it now. This is video number 1 in this single node OpenShift installation configuration series. Let's get virtual.